In today's video, we are going to get started with chapter 11, which is focusing on area. Specifically, today we're going to be talking about area of parallelograms and triangles, and then two special types of parallelograms, the rectangle and the square. Don't forget that if you need to pause the video at any time because you missed something or you need to write something down, make sure you do that. You can always rewind also if you miss something. So first thing we're going to talk about is the area formula for parallelograms. One thing I really want you to understand is that rectangles and squares are just special types of parallelograms. So they have the exact same formula. So the formula for a parallelogram is base times height. Therefore, rectangle is base times height as well, and so is the square. Major thing that you need to remember to be successful at doing area is what the base and the height are. So now the base is actually going to be a side of your shape, okay? So it's going to be one of the four sides of your shape, and then the height doesn't have to be, okay? The height just needs to be perpendicular or a 90-degree angle to the base. So you're going to see the little right angle symbol to tell you what the base and the height are. So base is one of the sides, and then the height is perpendicular to that. So if you go ahead and take a look over here at this parallelogram, in blue I've highlighted the base, and then you'll see that the height, so the height just connects the base, the two bases together, or the two same side lengths together. So you'll see that I've connected from A down to the base. This height, I mean, it stays the same throughout the whole shape, okay? It's the distance between those two bases, okay? It can even be outside of the shape like this, and then it's just perpendicular to the extension of this side, okay? So all of those, that same height all the way across. Now with a rectangle, the base and the height are actually both going to be sides of the rectangle, because once you draw in the base here, and then you look for a perpendicular segment, it's going to be the other side of the rectangle. So the base and the height are the actual lengths of the sides of that rectangle every single time. Then when you get into a square, the interesting thing about a square is that all the sides are the same, right? So sometimes you'll see that they'll just call this, instead of calling it B for base, they'll call it S for side, and then this one is also going to be the same exact length, right? If this one is 7, then this one is 7. So sometimes you will see a formula that will be written as S times S, or S squared. So if you know the side of a square is 12, then the area would be 12 squared, because the base and the height are the exact same number. But it is just this formula, S times S. Then for triangles, so triangle formula is base times height divided by 2. So again, the base and the height, base is going to be one of the three lengths of the triangle, and then the height is going to be the perpendicular segment connected to that opposite vertex, okay? So it's going to be the distance between the vertex and the base. Again, perpendicular, okay? So when we look at these kind of four different types of ways that we might see that, so we've got this base, okay, again, the side length of the triangle, and then the height right here up to that other vertex, you see the 90-degree angle. So base times height divided by 2. Have to see that 90-degree angle. Okay, here's the 90-degree angle, base, height, multiply them, divide by 2. Here, okay, I can't really see that. I covered the 90-degree angle up a little bit. Let me draw it in there again. But so for this one, the height, okay, because remember, it connects to this opposite vertex, okay? So the vertex to the base, but it needs to be a 90-degree angle. So this one just goes straight down to, like, let's consider that the ground, and the 90-degree angle is here. So this outer segment, okay, or this outer measurement is the height, and then this is the base. It has to be part of the triangle, okay? So it has to be one of the lengths of the triangle, and then you've got that height outside. So a lot of times people will end up multiplying, like you'll see an entire length here from here to here. You don't want to use that as the base. Okay, the base has to be one of the lengths of the triangle. So just this little chunk here, b times h divided by 2. Or if this is the base, you can see that little right angle in there, base times height divided by 2. Okay, make sure you see those 90-degree angles, multiply the two segments together, divide by 2. Let's take a look at a couple examples here. So in this first example, it's two parallelograms, exact same parallelogram. Everything about it is the same. Remember, you can choose what base you want to be using, okay? So it's just base times height. So in this first one, so let's write down that, okay? Area formula is base times height, okay, in both of these. Answer should be exactly the same in these two examples because it's the exact same shape. So I personally like to write down off to the side the things that I need, okay? So I need to find the base, and I also need to find the height. So off to the side, I'm just gonna write those down. So in this case, specifically, they are asking you to use PS as the base, okay? So PS as the base here. In the second case, they're gonna ask you to use PQ as the base, okay? So they're gonna ask you to use this one. So back to part A, so PS is the base, then we need to find the height. Remember, the height needs to be perpendicular to this side, okay, connecting top to bottom, okay, or the distance between top to bottom, and you need to see a right angle. So this one actually has the extension of this side is where you see the right angle, so here is the height. Again, this will stay the same all the way through, okay, so this is the distance between those two bases. So in this problem, we've got base as 6, and then the perpendicular segment to that is 8, so that's the height. We can just go ahead and plug those into the formula. Okay, base is 6 times height is 8, and we get 48. Now, when you're doing area, okay, you need to take a look at the unit. And when you add in units, area is the amount of space that the shape covers. So this is going to be square units. So it's going to be 48 feet squared. Make sure you write that. All right, so that's the area of the parallelogram. So we know we're going to get the same answer over here if we do it correctly. So we'll make sure of that. So let's again write off to the side base. In this case, they told us the base that we're using is PQ, which is 12. Then we're going to need to find the height that goes with that base. So we're going to look for the perpendicular segment to it. So here's this, here's the right angle touching that segment. So here is your height. Your height in this case is 4. Plug them into the formula. So base is 12, height is 4. When we multiply those two numbers, we again get 48, adding in the units, feet squared, and we get that final answer. So these two match like they're supposed to, okay? So make sure whatever segment you use as the base, you find the perpendicular segment matching it for the height. Looking at these next two examples, this first one is a square. Again, same thing, like same formula as a parallelogram. Okay, so you can write down base times height, okay, or you can write down sides squared, whichever one you want to do, okay, because we know, right, that if the height here or this side is 15, then this one is 15 also. So they're both going to be 15. So we go ahead and type that into our formula. So we get area equals base is 15, height is 15, multiply those together. So you get 225. Units in this case is inches. So we will write inches squared for that final answer. Next one is a triangle. Okay, so triangle formula, remember, is base times height divided by 2. Okay, so we've got the base. Oops, meant to change color on that. All right, let's see. Base times height divided by 2. Whoa, divided by 2. Okay, so the base in this case, again, you can pick any side you want. Okay, so you could pick this side as your base, okay? Or you could pick this side as your base, okay? Or you could pick this side as your base. Now, in my opinion, okay, there's only one that you should be using in this case, okay? Because out of all three of those, the only one that has a right angle with it is this bottom one. This one doesn't even have a length with it, so clearly don't use that one. And then this 13 doesn't have a perpendicular segment connecting to it, so you're not gonna have the height. Okay, so pick the one that you see a right angle with. So we've got base here that I'm using is 12, okay? And then we'll highlight the height that goes with that is gonna be this 10 right here. And then we can just plug those into our formula. So area equals base times height divided by 2. Okay, your base being 12, your height being 10. Okay, then just go ahead and simplify. So area is 120 divided by 2, which means that your area is 60. Don't forget your units, in this case, yards squared. All right, then the final example that we're gonna do is gonna actually be working backwards. So this one gives us the area of a triangle already. So this one says we have a triangle down here. The triangle has an area of 10 centimeters squared. Now, anytime a problem gives you information that you needed a formula to find, okay? So in order to find area of a triangle, we need a formula. So write down that formula, okay, because you're gonna have to work backwards. So now decide all of the things that you have. Well, they give you the area, right? And the other things included in that formula are the base and the height. Okay, so I just like to write down all those variables and fill in what I know. So let's take a look at the picture here. So let's identify the base. Okay, so we've got, here's this 90-degree angle. So the segment that goes along with that 90-degree angle is the 4. So the 4 is our base. And then the height, okay, is that X. That's what we're looking for, okay? So the height is this right here. And that's what we're trying to determine. Okay, so now we got all this information, so we can go ahead and plug it into the formula over here. So we've got area equals base times height divided by 2. So let's fill in what we know. All right, we know area, 10. We know base, 4. And we know that they are calling the height X in our problem. Okay, so we just filled that stuff all in. Now we're just gonna go ahead and start simplifying. So 10 equals 4x divided by 2. Well, 4x divided by 2 is just 2x. Then you can divide by 2 to both sides and get that x equals 5. Okay, so this problem said determine the length of the height. Well, x is the height, right? So the height, and when you answer it, you're gonna wanna use units, okay? And in this case, the units are centimeters. So this was 4 centimeters, this was 7 centimeters. So our height is gonna be 5 centimeters for our final answer. All right, that's it. So you can go ahead and take a look at what the chapter 11 assignment number 1 is on Schoology. And if you have any questions, be sure to reach out.